You're listening to Rebel Hearts Rising, where we believe your darkest hour holds the key to awakening depth and profound inner wisdom. I'm Tam Burke, and I created this to remind you that when your heart wants to shut down, that's your call to rise, like a phoenix from the ashes. What makes this unique is that every episode is paired with a guided meditation to help awaken your intuition and heal on deeper layers. Together, we'll turn pain into power. What's up, y'all, and welcome to another episode of Rebel Hearts Rising. I'm your host, Tam, and today I have a pretty wild story for you. Last year, in a dream, I had someone's spirit come to me and tell me that they wanted me to work with their human because she really needed help in what she was going through. This sounds crazy. Straight up, this sounds crazy. And I knew this woman through a friend. And so that morning I woke up and I was a little bit surprised because in the last few years, I've worked a lot on energetic boundaries. You know, there is some karma involved when you get involved in someone's life and they don't specifically ask for it. And this is something I teach a lot to my clients, and I'll be teaching in my upcoming intuitive training is just because you get a hit about somebody doesn't mean that you should tell them. And asking permission is actually one of the most important things to making sure that you don't bathe yourself in some bad karma. So I was kind of confused because I had really worked on clearing my dream space. Previously, if I would have an intuitive session with somebody, their spirit would come to me the night before and I'd wake up super tired because I just spent the night with their spirit having wild dreams, going on all kinds of frolicking kind of parties. I woke up frantic because I hadn't been sleeping. The intuitive session's amazing, but your girl was tired. So I decided to reach out to our mutual friend, which is how I knew this woman. And I said, hey, this pretty strange thing happened. Do you think I should reach out to her? She's like, definitely, at least just have a conversation with her. So she gave me her phone number and I texted her and said, hey, how are you doing? I know this sounds super strange, but your spirit actually visited me in my dreams last night and said that you might need some support. And I just wanted to reach out and see if there was anything that I could do for you. And so we went a few weeks kind of connecting back and forth, and finally she decided to work with me. And it was only after we had been working together for a few months that she told me, she's like, honestly, I thought it was complete marketing bullshit and that you were just using some excuse to reach out to me. And after working with you and seeing how you work with spirit and how you work with intuition and energetics, I now know that my spirit really did come to you. And so this brought us very close in our container together. And it also really showed me the power of trusting our dreams and trusting our intuition. And it also allows us to look at the idea that intuition is not a gift, it is a skill. A gift implies that it's rare, only a few people have it, that it's something that we're born with. And I do believe that that is partly true. I think it is a gift in that it's a really magical, beautiful expression of self. But I believe it's a skill like all people have intuition. Everybody that I know that I've ever encountered has had some kind of intuitive insight, whether they called it a hunch or a gut feeling, a knowing, a spidey sense, an intuitive download, an epiphany, right? How often do you just have epiphanies? You think that's not your intuition talking to you? And something that I've been really kind of passionate about and excited about is this idea that they're not intuitive hits. When we talk about it like a hit, we're talking about it like it's some one-hit wonder or a one-night stand and this thing that only happens once versus having something that's trained and consistent. It's a relationship with your intuition. And what I find for a lot of people is that they're treating their intuition like a 3 a.m. college booty call. They call their intuition when they need something. They're not having communication regularly. They only want, they don't give back. And I really like to view our intuition like a woman. Because the truth of the matter is, intuition is a feminine essence because it is the art of receiving information from the world around us. And so if you think about a woman in a relationship, a woman who is constantly praised, hell, you can think about this with your roommate, right? Thanks for doing the dishes. Thanks for taking out the trash. Thanks for mopping the floor, right? Those little thank yous add up. And what I find that most people are not doing is saying thank you to their intuition. Y'all, like, even if you don't 100% fully buy in on this, which I don't know, you didn't based off of the last your body can grow a penis, but you don't trust your intuition conversation we had last episode, start seeing the little ways that your intuition is constantly there for you and watch the way that your relationship with your intuition evolves. And so this can be something as simple as one time I was speeding and I heard cop, but I hadn't trained my intuition as finely tuned yet. And so I ignored it. Just thought it was some kind of thought. Got a ticket, of course, that's how that works. And even after that fact, I was like, oh, thank you for trying to attempt to save me from getting a ticket, even though I failed on my part receiving that information. I just really appreciate that you're there for me. Y'all, do you feel the difference between this kind of like ride or die, committed, intimate, fulfilling relationship versus this 3 a.m. college booty call that you only call when you want something and you don't pay attention to it otherwise? This is why a lot of clients actually come to me and they're like, whenever I call upon my intuition specifically, it's not there. I like hear crickets. Some people are like, I literally hear crickets, which is funny to think about. And it's like, well, of course. Could you imagine any other relationship that you were in and you only called that person when you wanted something? Like, yeah, I'd break up with you too, right? And so when we start to look at our intuition, like a woman in a relationship, when she receives praise and love and admiration versus only being called in panic, you start to develop a significantly deeper, more consistent and reliable relationship, which is what a lot of people are looking for. Is they want to move out of this intuitive hit or intuitive nudge into something that is reliable, like your long time committed relationship. You know what I'm saying? And so we start to move into this idea of how can you become more attentive to the relationship that's already there? I have a client who says, what you appreciate appreciates. And it's really powerful because that is one of the fundamental pieces that we're talking about here is the idea that when we turn our attention and acknowledgement to what already exists, we create more of it. And I love my intuition. I always felt like deeply enthralled with the magical world around me. Harry Potter was my favorite book, anything about witchcraft, magical mystery. But I'm not somebody who was intuitive from the start. I have a lot of intuitive mentors who, at 5, they saw people's aura, or in elementary school, they predicted a family member's illness, right? That was not me. I was sensitive my whole life. My parents told me to stop crying all the time. But I didn't really unlock my intuitive capacities to the way that I know them now until I really started training them. If you've listened to other episodes, you've heard me talk about the power of psychedelics and how they open you up, but also how you don't necessarily need to rely on them. And this is where I really want to invite you to turn your whisper into something that you can count on. I've used it from getting into college. I was the first person in my family to go to college traditionally. My sisters went after. But I used it to get scholarships into a traditional 4-year school. I used it to get a high paying job out of college. I used it to then leave my high paying job to pursue being a yoga teacher full time, even though all of my grad school friends told me I was reckless because I had just graduated with over $20,000 of credit card debt. I've used it to buy a failing business in a new town that my man and I had just moved to and turn it profitable twice, once pre and post pandemic. And so, oh, actually, recently this year, my intuition told me to meditate with the entity of my business. And that's a really unique idea. I thought, whatever, let's try it. I had one meditation with the entity of my business. She gave me one idea, and that turned into a $20,000 month the next month. Like, none of this stuff makes sense on paper. This is actually illogical stuff that I'm talking about. And that's because the relationship with our intuition goes beyond what really makes sense. How did I have a dream about a client's spirit who told me to connect with her. Like these are wild things. These are do not make sense on paper, supernatural kind of living experiences that are available to you if you choose to train your intuition like some kind of psychic athlete. And somewhere along the way, I got really passionate about this. I decided to do shamanism training in Kauai. Then my man studied under Anahata Ananda for breath work, and I trained under him for a few years. I did a mentorship with two healers that I absolutely love and respect, Christine Lang and Dana Childs. They're amazing. If you don't know them, highly recommend. I've done energy attunement trainings, feminine energetics. I've done Reiki 1 and 2. I've done intuitive sessions and group containers. I just am so passionate about learning. And this is where I really encourage other people. Like, y'all, it's really interesting to be in the coaching industry because I'm going to go on an offshoot here. I really deeply apologize. I'm kind of disillusioned by the coaching industry. I've met some amazing coaches, truly people who have literally changed my life. Like I am the woman I am today because of some of the mentorship that I've had. And also, I've paid a lot of money for containers that I felt like it was very clear that their best skill was marketing and not the thing that they said that they were going to teach. And even in those moments, I find myself like let down by my own intuition. How was I led there? And maybe you yourself have found experiences like this where you've followed your intuition only to be disillusioned or hurt or it not come out the way that you thought. And I was just talking to a client about this today. Okay. Have you all seen The Matrix? Like spiritual homework number one. I hadn't seen it. Then I saw it, changed my whole life because, you know. So huge spoiler alert in here. If you haven't seen it, A, please watch it. And B, I'm about to spoil it for you. So maybe fast forward a little bit or just listen and then watch the movie. Okay. Do y'all remember when the Oracle tells, I think it's Keanu Reeves, that he's not the one because he needs to go through that experience of ultimately deciding that he is? And so sometimes our intuition works in strange ways where we actually need to experience things that we might not have decided for ourselves that we wanted, but were really vital for our path. So I'm thinking about a specific coaching experience that I went through, and it really helped anchor me in the fact that I don't want to be a better marketer than I am a facilitator of transformation, than I am a teacher or guide of spirituality. And so it's like, did I need to pay that much money and spend that much time for that lesson? Yes, because that's how it happened. And so I often find that when we doubt our intuition, okay, I also think that our intuition is a little bit like Santa Claus, right? Where if you don't believe, it doesn't work as well. Like, actually, it doesn't work at all. It's really interesting because I've done intuitive sessions for people in the past who were skeptical, that kind of came to me, prove a point. And I couldn't really get a lot of information. And it's because of the way we close our energy field. Like, I can't, and I don't want to get through a shield that has something to prove or that is skeptical about this magical and mystical experience that we're moving into together. And so I want to invite you into this energetic, intuitive, supernatural world because I don't think this stuff is woo. I actually believe that we're in what I call the energetic dark age. In about 100 years from now, people are going to be like, ew, we did what? Y'all were doing what? Right? Like, okay, so the thing that I think about a lot is, you know how back in the day we didn't bathe every week? Like, I think they called it don't throw the baby out with the bathwater because the bathwater was so rank by the time the baby got in there. I don't even really want to address all of that. But there were some things that we were doing that are arguably pretty gross now that we know about hygiene. Well, I think the same thing is happening with energetics and intuition around that kind of hygiene too. And I want you to become an early adopter. You know how they say that we're only using a portion of our brain, like 6% of our brain? Well, I actually believe that the other 94% is feeling sensations, not thinking sensations. It's feeling the world around you. It's feeling these kind of intuitive insights. Because the more that we think about something, the more that it contracts. But the more that we are open to feeling, the more information that we're able to pull in. And so this is why I don't think it's woo. I think you can train these things. I believe that when you train these things, when you look at them as a skill rather than a gift, and when you have the ethical desire to really hone your skills, especially as a service provider, something that I think is really strange and I feel very fortunate to have experienced is how much other people's energy can hurt me and my clients. So let me give you an example. If I have back-to-back client sessions, and let's say this is all purely made up, that one of my first clients is going through deep grief around the loss of a family member. And my second call is about somebody who is working on intuition. And I don't clear my energy between those calls. The second client is going to pick up grief energy. The second client is going to walk away from our session and be like, whoa, I feel weird. And I feel like a deep sense of sadness because I kind of think of it like mud. And when we're in deep energetic situations, we start to get caked with all kind of mud. Here's an example. Have you ever hung out with a friend after she's gone through a breakup? You're being a good friend. Yes, you are. But you come back from that situation and you're like, damn, I'm tired. Well, because you're caked with all of her breakup mud. And now if you go and hug somebody else, guess what, girl? You're transferring that energetic mud right to the other. And so this is why I'm also really passionate about teaching people who hold space for other people, especially people who hold transformative space for other people, about how to clear their energy, because I really think it's impacting everything that's happening. And so this is where in the energetic dark ages, we decide that this isn't some gift, that this isn't woo, that it's not some fluffy experience, but a natural skill that actually has the ability to bring our life into higher and higher evolutions of ourselves. I worked with a client, amazing. She came to me and she was in about 20K of debt and it was mounting quickly. And within a week, she used her intuition to get out of debt and to stop the debt that was incoming. And I'm not going to give away details because that's very private to her, but the solution that she came up with, how she did it, how she went about it, all driven from her own wisdom, blew me away. And this is something that's so fun in my line of work, is that I'm blown away and my clients are blown away. It's almost like you never become immune to the fact that magic is real, and that if you pay attention to the things that are happening, it's happening all around you and you're actually constantly being guided, especially if you set aside time to train your intuition, because you don't need to become intuitive, you already are. And kind of like a muscle, muscles atrophy if you don't use them. But if you at the gym bench pressing every day, you're ripped. And so you can make your intuition ripped. Because the thing is that training your intuition builds self-trust. Simply just by doing what you say you're going to do, you're going to build self-trust. And everybody talks about nervous system regulation, but what about energetic systems regulation? Like the idea that we're all wearing each other's energy and we need to learn real, pragmatic, tangible ways to consciously clear our energy so that it doesn't affect our own frequency. And I talk about frequency like the yogis talk about our aura, or in quantum physics, we talk about our biofield, the electromagnetic pulse that your heart radiates, which is one of the strongest energetics that exists, love. And in the frequency field lies your thoughts, your beliefs, what you think about yourself, your identity, and your actions. And so you have the ability to control everything that you do based off of what exists in your frequency field, based off of the thoughts that you think about yourself, based off of who you believe yourself to be. And so this is where I find that clean energetic boundaries are important too, the ability to move things off of you, like that caking mud situation, recognizing, oh, I'm wearing someone else's mud and I need a process to clear this off. And so intuition isn't just for psychics in silk robes, right? Although they look pretty cool. I gotta admit, we should all get silk robes. It's for people who want to feel powerful in their life again, who want to claim their sovereignty and their autonomy and become their own teacher. Because becoming the most confident version of yourself starts with knowing how to find your own wisdom within. And that's why I just really love guiding you deeper into the experiences of yourself. The day that this releases, I'm going to be doing a live intuitive training. You can join us if you're listening to this. There are replays available. I'll leave the link in the show notes so that you can find it. And the thing is that I just want to prove to you just how intuitive you are. How actually a lot of your life is being guided by these intuitive feelings. And that no, most of us don't start with having dreams about our spirit's clients or seeing people's auras or fill in the blank for whatever it is. Don't compare your chapter 1 to someone else's chapter 30. Because that's also what I find leads a lot of people away from training intuition is that they just don't think that they're intuitive. It's like DM me and give me 5 of your time and I'll show you just how intuitive you are. Or take the fall in love with your intuition free training and see just how powerful your daily intuition already is. I'm super excited because in that training, we are going to play where you get to really feel how your intuition experiences being given to you because everybody's intuitive voice, even I say voice, some people don't have a voice, they see things, right? And understanding how to um, discern how your intuition speaks to you. And then also like a muscle using all of the ways that intuition can speak to us to develop a deeper and deeper relationship. So I really would love for you to DM me and talk to me about your intuition. Do you think you have it? Do you think you don't? Some people are scared of it because it's like the woo and it freaks them out. Remember, it's literally just as normal as childbirth, which is a whole miraculous situation on in itself, or creating a child for that matter. And if you're interested in taking the free training, you can also DM me and I'll send you a link for that. And then, as always, the thing that means the most to me is when you guys listen and let me know how it lands and what you're learning from this. And even more so when you send this to another woman. Because my deepest desire, my goal is to create a space where we feel like our rebel hearts can rise up and claim what we know is true for us, regardless of the perceptions of other people, perhaps even regardless of the perceptions of ourselves, of something being too woo. So thanks for listening. Thank you for being here. You guys have no idea how much I appreciate this experience. I love you guys, and I'll see you next week.